The American culture is one that is shaped by fear. It controls intolerance, elections, legislature, and consumption. This fear that is such a key element of American society is illogical. These fears often stem from ignorance and paranoia, while logical fears are overlooked. Fear plays a large role in elections. The candidate or campaign that plays into voters' fears the best wins.
For example, George W. Bush had a successful re-election because his campaign played into the American fear that terrorists were going to attack at any minute. In the upcoming election, fear is the main argument against Proposition 19. Those opposed to it fear that, if passed, Prop 19 will encourage drug use and driving under the influence. Another argument in legislation that is based off of fear is about securing the borders. Voters are afraid that a lot of immigrants will increase crime and diminish American culture. The media may have the largest role in controlling Americans' fears. 4 years after the Columbine massacre, a movie came out called Elephant. Elephant's plotline was similar to a behind-the-scenes film of the Columbine story. This movie is an example of the media playing into and building on Americans' fears. By repeating a recent massacre, it leads people to believe their fear that this massacre will happen again. Although the media definitely has a role in controlling Americans' fears, some of the illogical fears are controlled solely by the people. A great example of a clash between what the media tells Americans to be afraid of and what they are afraid of is guns. With all the violence in movies, song lyrics, newspapers, and television involving guns, most Americans are not afraid of them. 40 to 45% of households own a gun. A large majority of these households state that they are safer with a gun in their house because they are able to protect themselves from outside threats. This fear makes no logical sense. More deaths occur because of the guns in the house than because of any outside threat. The widespread use of guns and the exaggerated fear of outside threats causes the fear of guns to be overlooked. Americans are more afraid of things that are unlikely to kill them than those that are because of the many of the actually lethal things in this society are common. If you pass out a survey, most Americans would answer that they are more afraid of abduction than automobiles. When first stated, this may seem an obvious thing to agree with, but the statistics prove otherwise. There are 6 million car accidents each year, while there are only 5,000 kidnapped victims. 40,000 people die in car accidents each year, while only 200 to 300 of those 5,000 kidnapped are taken by strangers. With these numbers, it would seem that Americans would have a much greater fear of cars than abduction. More people would have been affected by car accidents than abductions, for one. Sadly, this is not true. Cars being so common and useful are not often thought of as lethal machines. There are many products such as tobacco and guns that, like cars, are overlooked as lethal products because they are common. Ironically, it seems that truly lethal products have been accepted into American culture, while harmless lifestyles are ostracized. I'm Claire Gilbert for Youth Radio. To hear this commentary and more, visit us at youthradio.org.